Good afternoon, everyone. We have Pawan Kumar Marella, sir, author of Dear Rookie, Don't Panic. Welcome, sir. Welcome to our podcast session.
Thank you. Very happy to be here.
Thank you, sir. Sir, can you give us a little brief introduction about yourself?
So, my name is Pawan. I like to say I was built in India. I was tested in Africa, and now I'm reinventing my life in London. So that's me. I'm 22. That's not my age. I wish it was, but that's the number of years I've spent working in the industry with Unilever. And I'm just living a happy and a grateful life with my wife, who also happens to be my best friend, and two young kids who keep me very busy. So that's me very quickly.
Yes. Thank you so much, sir. My first question would be, what inspired you to write this book about the rookies that entered the corporate world? Was there is any personal experience that motivated you to write this book?
I think it's the panic. I think everybody, or at least me, when I joined the corporate world, I was not ready for it. I maybe knew intellectually stuff from my college or what was I taught, but emotionally and from a maturity lens, I wasn't ready. But I used to smile and pretend that I was very confident. And then I realized over time that everybody was pretending, right? And that everybody's panicking. And that's where I wrote this book from, saying, if it can help people not do the mistakes I did, and secondly, to normalize the panic, saying it happens to everyone. You're not alone. What you're going through and what you're feeling, and those questions you're not asking, everybody's going through that. So it's like it's okay. That was the genesis of why I wanted to write this.
So, like you said, the panic. Is it normal that everyone feel panic, anxious in their work life?
I think it's true, right? But I cannot say everybody is panicking, but I think it's fairly common. And when you make that jump from campus to corporate, right? I think panic is like performance anxiety in a suite, right? Because your expectations have increased. There's no book to read to get an answer. There's no exam that you're preparing for. There is no cheat sheet you can get and just mug up. So the panic comes because suddenly you move from a place where everyone's telling you what to do and exactly what to prepare for to no one's telling you what to do and you don't know what to prepare for. So that panic, I think, is fairly common. But I think for me, it's about saying if you can normalize it and say there is no shame in panic and all you need is perspective. It's almost like an equation, right? Panic minus shame plus perspective is equal to progress. Maybe that's the way I would look at it.
Yes, so that's really amazing. Uh, is there is a difference between what we learn in school and college for the corporate world and the actual experience?
I think there's a massive difference. I think it's a massive difference, and I think that's the key, right? I would say three things, right? First, I think in when we are students, we're taught to answer questions, right? So here's a syllabus, here's a curriculum, and in corporate life, you have to ask questions because the problems are not clear. People want you to get more details, so it moves from answering questions to asking questions. I think the second one is when you're in campus or when you're a student, you tend to do things on your own. There is an exam, there is a paper, you have to study, you put in the hard work, and you will get a good result. Whereas in the corporate world, most of the work, at least, is done in teams. So it's about how you now suddenly work with other people and how they do well and how good you are as a team. That makes a difference. So that solo to team, I think, is a big shift. And the third one is moving from almost like from talking to doing, because in campus you're talking. To get a job in an interview, you talk, right? They ask you questions, you answer, you do group discussions, you do case studies, but you're always talking. And when you join a company, they realize they don't want you to talk, they want you to do things, right? So that moving from talking to doing, I think, is a big shift. So I think there are big jumps, and that's why I think that there's a need to help and mentor and talk about this much more.
Yes. So, can we talk about your early career opportunities? Is there was any mistake that you made in your career that helped you in this book that you have shared with the readers?
Oh, there are so many, right? The book is full of them. I'll give you one, right? The moment I joined the company, right? I joined in sales, and the organization put me in charge of the biggest sales area in that region, right? So there were sales area of different sales, and I was like, oh my God, they put me in the biggest sales area. That means I must be a rock star. Otherwise, why would my boss give this new person such a big responsibility, right? So I instantly went into the job saying, if they trust me, I know what to do. I look at Excel sheets, I look at the data, I'll tell everybody in the team who's been there for 10 years what to do. And I started doing that, and nothing worked. Because obviously, I had no practical experience, I had no understanding of the region, and I was only working off my ego. And I still remember 6 months down the line in that stint, my boss calls me into the room and says, "Boss, this is not working out. You're not doing well. I hope someone's told you that. And we'll give you one more chance." And I'm like, oh shit, this is going down the drain. They moved me from the biggest sales area to the smallest sales area. And not only did they move me to the smallest sales area, they actually split that smallest sales area into two smaller areas and gave me the smallest part of that. So I'm like, ये तो एकदम fall from grace हो गया from being the rock star of the biggest region. And that for me was the biggest shock, right? First, when you come in a proud way and people, it's almost like a demotion in many ways. And that for me was the aha moment saying, oh my God, I have two options now. I can just say, oh, I'm a rock star and they don't know, which is not true. Or these guys know a lot more than me. There is something that I need to change. And that's when I changed. I'm like, I need to just keep quiet, learn, go out, ask for help, explore things, and only open my mouth when I have something useful to contribute and something I have done. And that's the story. I think I start off at the start of the book as well, saying, do first and talk later. And this mistake a lot of people do. So yeah, there you go. That's the story. That's really amazing. And your book is described as cheat sheet. So how did you ensure it that it stays practical and concise and yet comprehensive? I think it comes from my own challenge. I can't read very long books or I can't read very long articles. I struggle. So I'm like, अगर कुछ कहना है तो आप फटाफट बोल दो. You give me the headline. अगर मेरे को और ज्ञान चाहिए तो मैं पढ़ूंगा. But if you cannot explain something in a simple way, that means you are not clear. So I took a lot of time saying, पहले मेरे को क्या बोलना है, and then I tried to bring it down so that if you read it, you'll just get it, right? So I'll give you another one. I talk about the fact that the one person you don't meet in the first 100 days is the same person who's going to hold your work back later on, right? And that insight came from, आप relationship नहीं बनाओगे तो बाद में लोग काम नहीं करेंगे, because in India at least or everywhere in the world people work on relationships and I need to trust you, I need to like you, I need to be okay with you. But that one line captured the essence of what I wanted to say, right? There's another line, which I say, which is life is a pitch, right? Saying आप जब किसी नए बंदे को मिलते हो या आप बॉस को मिलते हो या you go to an interview, in 30 seconds they're evaluating you, right? Yes. So it's a pitch. So if you don't prepare for it, it won't work out, right? So when you call me to the interview, I have to prep in my mind and give you the answers in a pitch. So yeah, that's the idea of making it concise. Yes, definitely. And you talk about thriving, not just surviving at work. So, what's the biggest mindset shift a rookie must make to start thriving? I I'll tell you two things. बहुत सारे, but if I was to give you two things, I think the first mindset shift is it's okay to not be okay, right? Saying it's okay. Some days you'll be having a good day, some days you'll be having a bad day, some days you'll panic, some days you'll, and it will be up and down, right? But it's up and down in a way that's going up. So be okay that it's not okay. It's part of the learning, it's part of the process, and you'll get through it. So I think that's the biggest mindset shift. I think the second mindset shift for me is waking up every day and trying to be useful, right? It's not कि आज कुछ पढ़ना है, आज कुछ exam लिखना है. It's about saying today when I go to office or when I work with my team, what useful thing have I done for the team and the company or my work? because then that moves you forward. You may not get a result immediately because many of the work projects are complicated, but if you can answer saying I was useful, it'll be nice.
Yes. In today's rapidly changing work environment, especially with remote and hybrid roles, how relevant is your advice across all formats of work?
I think whether it's a Zoom call like this or if you're meeting in person, the fundamental principles are same, right? कि for example, अगर आप meeting रखते हो, you have to come on time, whether it's a Zoom call or a visit. It is nice to say hello and how are you and to say please and thank you, whether you're working remotely or whether you're working in a cubicle. I also say something and that's my last point on this is, because I'm working from home, so I can just work out of my bed and in my pajamas. Like, of course you can, but that mental shift doesn't happen. So whether you're going to office or you're working from home, like I'm working from home today, dress up for work, take a shower, clean up. So mentally you make that shift as well. So I think it's relevant. I don't think it's a point of where you're working from or what you're working on. It's the fundamental things that remain true. And sir, what was the reaction of your family and friends when they first get to know about your book? Ah, interesting. I think not many of them knew that I was writing a book. So there's always the element of surprise, a positive surprise, which is nice. But I think the most amazing thing has been the support that people, when you do something good, a lot of people come together to help you. And I found that in my book as well. Long lost friends, people have come together to say, oh, I read your book. It was so nice. I'm going to recommend it to my team. Or can you come to my company and give a lecture? So I've seen that the world is full of good people, right? Yes. Much more than we think. And I found that in writing this book with my friends, with my family, and that's made me very happy. Yeah, that's definitely. Can you share any positive reviews that you have gotten from your book that has really touched your heart? Oh, lots of them. I've been very grateful to three. If I was to combine them, I'll say there were three words that kept coming out in the reviews when I kept reading them on Amazon or LinkedIn. Right. One was it's very human, right? Because I'm like, yeah, जो मेरे साथ हुआ है मैं बस बता रहा हूँ आपको. There is no sugar coating. Sometimes things worked out for me and sometimes they didn't work out for me. So they found it very human versus a leader. I think the second was people found it very relatable because I write it in a language which is very simple. So I think that touched me because I'm like, if it can relate to you, you get it. And third, the word which I love is a lot of people have said it's comforting, and I like that because my idea was not to shake you up or put you in more panic or make you feel that, oh, मैंने तो कुछ किया नहीं. My idea is that this is it should feel like a warm cup of tea or a hot cup of tea on a cold day, which when you hold it, you feel nice, right? So that was my intent. And I think those three words of that it's human, that it's relatable, and that it's comforting were common. And that made me very, very happy because that was the intent. Yes. And another question would be how important is emotional intelligence for a new professional, or how can one start developing it from day one? I think it's the most important thing, and this is the what we spoke about earlier as well, right? Saying जब हम यूनिवर्सिटी से निकलते हैं यार IQ is very high. You've crossed exams, you've crossed this, and that is not required in the company because you're working in a team. So I think EQ is the most important. And my simple hack, there are full books on EQ which you can read. Daniel Goleman's book is very good, for example. But the simple hack I have learned is something that I learned in this serial called Friends, which came back, many years back, where this character goes and asks people always, like, how are you doing? Right? His opening line is always, how are you doing? Which is, he's in a way asking you, आप कैसे हो? Before I get into work and, give me this report or आपने वो mail का answer नहीं किया है, just asking people how they're feeling makes a big difference because everything at work is personal. We're all human beings, right? You don't know what happened to me last night. Maybe my kid was sick, or maybe I couldn't sleep, or maybe a pipe burst in my house, or something happened, and that is manifesting itself at work, right? आपको पता नहीं उनके साथ क्या हुआ है अभी जब वो बट हम एक्सपेक्ट करते हैं कि जैसे ऑफिस में आते हैं that you should be all smiling and professional. So I think EQ for me is just asking someone, how are you? Sab theek hai? Right? And if someone says, yeah, no, I'm not in a great space, maybe have a chai first before you come into work, sit down. And I think it will make all the difference. So that's my EQ answer. That's really an amazing answer. And if you had to condense your entire book into one golden rule for rookies, what would it would be? Wow, that's very tough. I would say be a radiator, not a vacuum cleaner. Right? Radiator जो होता है, it radiates energy, makes the room warm and nice. A vacuum cleaner sucks out all the energy, like Harry Potter's Dementors. वो जब कुछ लोग होते हैं जब जो रूम में आते हैं लोग बोलते हैं oh my god ये कौन आ गया, because they just suck out the energy, right? And कुछ लोग जब रूम में आते हैं बोलते हैं वाह, the room is elevated, everybody is happy. So my one line answer to cheat sheet would be a radiator, not a vacuum cleaner, and you'll see the world will be a much nicer, happier place for you. Yes, sir. Like you said, I want to ask the working environment. It really important for a rookie to see and how he can adjust on that working environment, even if it's a toxic. ये तो बहुत मुश्किल है. I think the what I've learned first is the most important person in the world is yourself, right? Yes. And hence focusing on your holistic health should be your number one priority. And holistic health for me means physical health, mental health, emotional health, and your spiritual health. And if you focus on that, I think your ability to manage a toxic environment is much better, because आप में खुद confidence आता है and आप अब अच्छी जगह पे. But अगर आप अपने health पे ध्यान नहीं दोगे, right, and you go into a toxic environment, and that becomes even more challenging. So that's my first advice. And my second advice is don't accept toxicity. या तो आप वो सिचुएशन को चेंज करो if you can. It's kind of difficult if you're a rookie. या आप वहां से चले जाओ if you have a choice, right? But if you don't do anything, वो stress आपके अंदर बढ़ते जाएगा. That is what I have learned. So either do something or leave. At the very least, focus on your health, because then you'll be able to get stronger in managing that. Yes. Thank you, sir. And can you tell us a bit about your own journey? Where did it start and how did it develop? My journey has been adventurous, and I'm very grateful to God for that. I think I studied my engineering. I did my chemical engineering from IIT Kharagpur, but I was not good and I didn't like it. But then I did my MBA in IIM Calcutta in finance, and I realized I was not cut out for finance as well. And then I ended up in Unilever in sales and marketing. So that's the first part of my journey where I realized destiny will find you, and आपको कोशिश करना पड़ेगा, right? You cannot just take it. I did something, I didn't like it, whatever it is. But I think that was the first part of my journey, saying let me keep trying, and I will find something that works for me. So that's where I started in Unilever in sales and marketing. I spent 11 years in different cities in India. I started off in Bangalore, in Chennai. I went to Mumbai. Then I went to Kolkata. So that taught me a lot about India itself, the different cultures, the different ways of working, and a lot about brands. That was my biggest adventures and my biggest failures as well. There was a time. There were all kinds of stuff I write in the book. There was a time when a distributor kidnapped me because I was so aggressive and stupid in how I was dealing with him. There was a time when I was so stressed when I was in one of my stints that I forgot how to breathe. कि डॉक्टर ने बोला आपके साथ कुछ गड़बड़ नहीं, आप बस ब्रीदिंग भूल गए. You have self induced your stress so much that you have forgotten how to breathe. So all of these things happened to me in my first 10 11 years. And then I moved very far away. I went to Africa because I felt I needed a new adventure, a new start. So I went to Ethiopia in East Africa to start Unilever's business. I was in Kenya leading Unilever's one of the Unilever's divisions there, which was amazing because जब आप किसी completely different culture में काम करते हो, it's a whole different learning and humility that you get, right? So that I did, and then I moved to London now in a global marketing role, where I look after the whole world in terms of marketing training, so to speak, right? which is also teaching me a lot because now I work with people from all over the world. So it's been a very adventurous journey. But it's happened little bit by luck, but little bit by my willingness to put up my hand saying kuch naya chahiye, kuch different chahiye. And it's a bit like a book. I read somewhere, I don't know who wrote it, but saying, the world is like, or life is like a book. And you'll only get through the book if you turn the pages, right? If you don't travel or if you don't explore new things, then you're just stuck on one page of the book, right? Which might be nice, but और भी बहुत कुछ है दुनिया में देखने के लिए और experience करने के लिए. So that's what been my motto.
सर जिसके आप इतने एडवेंचरस है अपने करियर को लेकर के सो आप एक जो कॉर्पोरेट एम्प्लॉय है उनको कहेंगे कि आगे आज और वो भी एडवेंचर्स ले अपने करियर को लेकर के
बिल्कुल the thing is jitna and when you're a rookie right up you're young many people are not yet married they don't have kids so आपके पास कितना freedom है right if I go back in time I would say जितना हो सके आप travel करो right आप दुनिया देखो and दुनिया देखना can start with your own city right दुनिया देखना क्या start with your own city आपने अपना खुद का city पहले देखा है क्या and go and see it I still remember uh, I was brought up in Hyderabad right
yes
and Hyderabad has so many wonderful things it had the Golconda Fort it had the Salarjung Museum it had a beautiful zoo but I kid you not till I grew up I had never been there right
yes
एक दिन मैं ये अपने शहर में मैंने देखा नहीं है so I'm like okay let me go and see and I went there after I got married with my kids and then I'm like Are, there is so much to learn here only right
yes.
Not this. So I think try and experience new things second I think today everybody is binge watching up binge reading karo read something experience something new there is so much fun there are beautiful books there are beautiful podcasts like yours see and experience that inspiration which is very nice I would say that's the second thing and the third thing is something I referred I think please focus on your health that's the most important अगर मैं if I can turn back the clock जो एक चीज मैं change करूंगा is the focus on health from day one because it's like जब आप rookie बनते हो it's like you as if you have a new iPhone which has been given to you fully charged right फटाफट चलता है एकदम सब बढ़िया है battery lasting but your life is your health is like you cannot change your body like you change an iPhone right आपको यही चीज आगे लेके जाना है right and you cannot you so it take the longer you go you have to make that same now iPhone work 15 years later so अगर आप अभी उसका देखभाल नहीं करोगे when the time comes it won't work right so it's like our bodies are not like iPhones you can't replace them you can't upgrade them you have to keep making the same software and hardware work better and better for you and that's a big challenge so that's my advice
that's really an amazing advice sir and can I know what were the some biggest challenges you faced early in your career was there any funny story that you want to share with the readers
Arey, let me give you one. Let me give you one. I was talking to you about getting kidnapped by a distributor. It's true. आप IIT जाते हो, IIM जाते हो, कंपनी ज्वाइन करते हो, लोग ये नहीं सोचते कि one day you'll sit up and tell people that you got kidnapped. But I'll tell you the story. It was in my rookie days when I was in this high arrogance that मेरे को सब आता है. मुझे सब आता है. मैं बस इनको बता दूंगा क्या करना है. The person is double my age. So there was this distributor who we were not getting along with. Right? And business में होता है where you have differences of opinion, you don't necessarily. But I was like, how can he have a difference of opinion? हमने बोल दिया कि ऐसे करना है तो करना चाहिए. How can he have a difference of opinion? And when you're young, you get angry, and I kept like the tempers kept rising. And I even went to the town where he was and like, नहीं boss आपको ऐसे ही करना है. आप कौन होते हो ऐसे बोलने के लिए? Da, 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 da. And suddenly he takes me down. He was also getting angry, right? Everybody. And these are now senior people. They're old people. He takes me into his godown, right? And actually, suddenly I'm still talking loudly. I turn around, वो तो चले गए, and I'm locked up in his godown. He's like, ये इतना बच्चा इतना बोल रहा है इसको, I'll just lock him. Literally, he locked me up in his godown and said, अभी आप बोलो क्या करोगे? I'm like, oh my god, I got locked up in a godown. ये तो कभी आया में पढ़ा नहीं मैंने कहा किसी केस स्टडी में तो लिखा नहीं है नो किसी प्रोफेसर ने तो बताया नहीं what do I do now and that I just like eventually I'm like oh my God, I need to, calm down. So I calmed down, I called him, and the guy's like, आपको अपने बॉस से बात करके एक बड़ा अच्छा अपॉलॉजी चिट्ठी लिखना पड़ेगा कि आपने ऐसे ऐसे किया है, बोला ऐसा ऐसे. Okay, let me call my boss. When you panic, you call your parents or you call your boss, right? So I said, boss, so गड़बड़ हो गया, help me out, and my boss obviously was a very wise man. So he's like, obviously you can't write anything. Okay, your tempers got raised. You can say sorry for raising your voice or talking loudly, but you can't give a letter. So, but he's like, आप letter नहीं लिख के दोगे कि अब तो मैं आपको जाने नहीं दूंगा. So boss like, wait करो, just hold on. And this town we were in actually had a company factory in it, right? Actually had a company factory. And suddenly, after about 15 minutes, 100 people are walking towards me in factory uniforms with wrenches and hammers and whatever to come and protect and save me. Because my boss had called up the factory guy and said, देखो यार ये the first guy आप जरा उसको जाके वहां से निकाल के लाओ. But he didn't expect that the factory guy would also have a dabang moment and say, boss, बस मैं जा रहा हूँ देख लेंगे. But obviously, when they came, the distributor also calmed down. He understood that this was not going anywhere, and then we both said sorry. We shook hands and we left. But yeah, that's a funny story. There are many more that have happened to me. But we can talk about that some other day. Yes, sir. That was really an out of syllabus experience and a funny story. तो बहुत कुछ हुआ है, बहुत कुछ हुआ है. If you do random things, they will happen to you. But yeah, that's Yes, sir. And what were your mentors or role models when you were a rookie, and how did they influence you in your work? I think a lot of people have influenced me. I think the first is my bosses have mentored me a lot, right? And my bosses have taught me a lot. I think I'm very grateful for that, and I think you need to learn. But interestingly, over time, I have learned from different people. Now I learn from my wife and my kids, right? Very different. They're also rookies. Let's see how they tackle. My kids at least are rookies, and how they tackle problems is teaching me a lot. Right? Like my younger one, my younger son is such a I don't know क्या बोले. Other day he went to the principal and said कि ये school में हम क्यों fees देते हैं? You should give me money to come to school because you're wasting my time and you're not teaching me good enough things. So मैंने कहा ये इतना confidence अगर मेरे में होता, मैं अपने boss को जाके बोलूँ. I'm like, yeah, imagine and for an 8-year-old to have that confidence to go and talk like that to the principal. I was like, yes, man, I need to have that confidence too. So my mentor, I wouldn't say mentors, but my inspiration is now coming from very different sources like my kids. It's coming from a lot of rookies, such as you as well. Not saying you're a rookie, but when people like you are doing such amazing work with such confidence, I'm like, I was not as confident at your age when I was there. Just wasn't. I'm like, oh man, wow, right? So my compliments to how you're doing it, and that's where I'm getting inspired by. So that's it. And sir, how do you balance your working and writing nowadays? बड़ा मुश्किल है, बड़ा मुश्किल है. I think what at least in my case, the writing took a lot of time. I think that's the first thing. It took me 5 years to write it. ये ऐसा नहीं है कि किसी दिन रात में किसी ने बैठा और एकदम किसी ने लिख दिया. It took a long time, so that way it's manageable, right? So every weekend I used to write. How I manage my writing now is I'm very disciplined. मैंने लोगों से सीखा है, right? कि अगर आपको कुछ करना है, then वो हो जाता है. Right? When there are people who say I have to go to the gym, then they go. ऐसा तो हो नहीं सकता कि आपके पास वो 30 minutes नहीं है लिखने के लिए. So I now when I go to office and I come back, it's about a 45-minute journey both ways. So तब मैं जाके लिखता हूँ iPhone पे. I just write an idea I have and then I come back. Or if I'm going to the gym and I'm running on the treadmill, I just think in my head. मैंने कहा अब तो भाग ही रहा हूँ, right? I'm just listening to a song, so let me just think on a topic. So I find the time, but I do it in a disciplined way कि हर दिन at least half an hour I should be writing or thinking. And they say, right, you are what you do every day or you are what you do regularly. So the secret I've learned is कुछ भी करके हर दिन you have to spend some time on it. Otherwise it won't happen. So is there anything that I might have missed in this podcast that you would like to add? No, I think you covered everything. I think my only last point is if I give advice to a rookie from what I have learned, then what is just ask for help. right? If you ask for help, the world will help you. Ask your boss if you're not clear on the project. Ask your team members if you're not clear about the culture of the company. Ask your friends, to see how or check in how you are. Ask your own body how it's feeling. Am I energetic? But ask for help, right? And then the sky is the limit. That's what I would say.
Thank you for giving advice to such a rookie like even me. And thanks for writing such an amazing book, sir. It was really a great experience to get a chance to read it.
No, same here. Thank you, Sakshi. I think you're doing a wonderful job. My compliments. Please keep doing such wonderful work. You're doing an absolute good service to the world with such things. So thank you. Thank you. Have a lovely day.
You too, sir. Thank you.
Take care. Bye.
You too.